Dragons, once thought to be fairy tales, are now all around us. We just can't see them. Dragons can be harvested for resources, or be giant, evil monsters. Those who can see these dragons all around us live in reverse London, and those who can see them and work for Wingbind HQ in reverse London are called witches and wizards. Two of these witches are Noelle and Nini, and this is Burn the Witch by Kubo. Good evening, and welcome to episode 2 of Manga Mondays, the only combination vlog show, manga review / talk show, and this is me, Virgil, or V-Vlogs. Today I'm drinking a banana and almond butter protein drink, because today we're recording a Pocky 1-chip challenge, but with 3 chips later on. I'm not really sure when that'll go live, but it's being recorded today, and I just hit the gym, so I need some protein / milk. Much like my matcha drink from last week, it has no sugar, so once again, that tastes about as good as you'd expect. It's surprisingly not sweet for having fruit in it. It just tastes like grainy milk. Also got a peach pear LaCroix for some water. But yes, trying to prepare my body for this recording and for the milk challenge, the hot chip challenge. Speaking of preparing my body, I've now been working my body here at a desk for about a year, my first desk job, and my back is killing me. You know what else sucks? Burn the Witch by Kubo, or Kubo Taito. He also made Bleach and Zombie Powder in the 90s. Like a lot of people my age, I read Bleach at the school library and watched the anime, played some video games on DS, then probably 5 years later I decided I wanted to catch up again, read about 400 chapters. I felt like the series should have ended a couple times by then, and when Ichigo's dad became a main character, I was like, alright, that's enough. It's not to say I didn't like it. It definitely holds a nice place in my heart, and I just think it outstayed its welcome. Well, that's what I thought at first. I've now had to read it 3 times and watch the anime, and I'm a little indifferent. I feel less terrible about it than I did initially. I like a lot of the character designs, and I think that helped with the anime, because the animators clearly cared a lot about that world and kind of brought it to life. Normally I wouldn't review a whole series in depth like this, because my brain is smooth like a slip and slide, and I read and forget things instantly. But this one is very short, and really not good, and really interesting, so it'll be easy to talk about. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to establish are the rules of this world, as they are explained both in the one-shot and in the first chapter, kind of in the beginning. So here they are. Normal citizens can't see dragons. They think they're fairy tales. But 72% of deaths in London happen from dragons. What? That is insane! This is the big one. How do they not notice these deaths? That's more deaths than not from dragons. And 72%, they doubled down on this. This is the number in the one-shot and the first chapter. This is not a discrete number, not like 10%. This is a noticeable number. How can people think dragons are still fairy tales when 72% of their people are dying to things they don't understand or know about? Like, you gotta figure something out at that point. This is modern day. Dragons kill, again, most people. And dragons do destroy stuff. They seem very destructive, but people still can't see it. Everyone who can see dragons goes to or is in already reverse London. It's implied that if they're born in London and can see dragons, they then move there at some point. Now, only those who are certified and live in reverse London with Wingbind can touch dragons. Wingbind is the company that, or like, I don't know what you would call it, the corporation, the group, let's just say group, that can touch dragons. Those guys are in charge of dragon stuff. And they say if you touch a dragon and you're not certified with Wingbind, you go to a prison for 100 years or die. The people that are not certified that live in reverse London are called seers, and they either have to avoid dragons at all times or wear Monsters Inc. hazmat suits to touch them and to like work with them in some way, since that's kind of their whole economy over there. The certified people that help out sometimes, that work with Wingbind, are called witches and wizards. Dragons aren't that dangerous unless they're hungry, and the regular ones are called white dragons. They're cute, they're plants, buses, and friends. We've also got like bad dragons, we'll talk more about those later, but the majority of dragons are just, they're good, just don't touch them. Okay, rules are established. Couple big problems. 72% of deaths cannot be from dragons. That is too many. That is absolutely bonkers. Too much death, bad. 2, we have this like magic Hogwarts world. All the magic has to do with dragons and it's everywhere. But most of the people that live here die if they touch dragons or are not allowed to touch dragons, so no one gets to enjoy it or like be a part of it unless you're like one of the few witches or wizards. And third thing, it seems like most of the people that live in reverse London still work in regular London. So why are they forced to live here? It seems unnecessarily dangerous to have them go back and forth. Like, forcing them to live somewhere where they're in constant danger seems like a bad idea. Like, if they gotta go there to work with the dragons because they're allowed, let them go, I guess. But I think this should all just be certified and handled by Wingbind if you're gonna make people live here. I just don't... I think this can all be summed up with, let the people touch the dragons. Rewrite the story so that if you're able to see the dragons, you can touch them. Most of them are good. They're cute, they deserve to be pet. Don't make them all bad and dangerous. I hope that made sense. I had a really hard time articulating that quickly because it is a lot. And I think, again, the main problem is just that they're really hardcore about this rule that you can't touch the dragons. But the dragons are everywhere, and it's like a nice dragon. We'll look more in Chapter 2. We'll see why this is a really big problem, but let's go with the one-shot first. So the one-shot has all the rules I established, but our main character is Virgo, a teenager who simply wants to see his witch waifu panties. He has a cute dog, osushi-chan, Osushi in the anime, and is a nice enough guy, but otherwise is pretty shallow. He's just a teenager who looks kind of like Ichigo. He stalks Noelle, a student by day, and Wingbind Dragon Herder the other half of the day. So it's him, the main character, stalking this witch girl, Noelle. He lures her in with his dog, and then she kicks his ass for doing that, and then zooms away in a telephone box to reverse London, where we meet Ninny, the other witch, and we get the rules of the world, which I've explained. They meet up with their chief, who sends them on a mission to harvest grapes from a dragon nose, and we learn more about the different types of harvesting dragons. We have textiles, minerals, electricity, fuel, medicine, and meat. And then suddenly Virgo's cute dog turns out to be a dragon back in the real world, which summons another evil dragon, and these two dragons are fighting in London. And the witches go back to regular London. They kill the bad dragon, not Sushi-chan, who's a good small dog. They go back to regular London, they kill the dark dragon. The chief who assigned them gets promoted for telling them to do it. And then Virgo is now a half-dragon because he was in contact with his dog Sushi-chan, the dragon, for so long. And they should kill him for that, since that rule was pretty ironclad earlier on. But they don't kill him, they just make him a pet instead, and he's on their team now. Okay, so the one shot was fine. For some reason, they explicitly say humans can't touch dragons, but our main character does and is fine. We haven't really encountered the big problems with that yet. It'll happen as the author kind of doubles down here in Chapter 1. But yeah, Chapter 1. We start with Ninny hiding from the paparazzi and being fed up with her pop star life. She's revealed to be the leader of the pop group Cecile Die Twice, and she captures a deer for flower harvesting with Noelle, who is a student. So we have our two main characters reintroduced. We now know that Ninny is a pop star and Noelle is just a student. After reading these chapters a couple times, it seems like Noelle's pretty boring, but Ninny's like the main character now, which is great. She's much deeper. She has kind of a rocky relationship with friends in the industry. She's not a jerk about it. She's a good person, but she's kind of sick of being a pop star and wants to be good at her job as a dragon herder and kind of move up in the ranks there, so that's cool. So we meet the two witches. They go flower harvesting together. After their mission, they go back to base, and they see Virgo flying by, who's now named Balgo, that boy with the little pet dragon dog, and he's flying around. And it seems like the one shot is mostly canon since he's now their pet. That's true. The chief we see now back, he's been fired from his promotion at the end of the one shot. So anyways, they go chase Balgo. Balgo's crashing into buildings, causing trouble, interacting with citizens. But again, the citizens can't touch dragons, so the witches are like, alright, lick my flip phone. And they do this really weird sexual scene where they make this guy lick their phone, which is disgusting. And he does, and he's fine. It's like 0.3% dragon, you're safe. And they're like, oh, thank God I don't have to execute you mercilessly in the street. Good day. And they go catch Balgo, and they're like, why is your dog freaking out? He shouldn't be doing that. And he's like, I don't know, I didn't do anything. And they're like, oh no, that must mean there's danger nearby. And there is. There's a sort of crested gecko dragon, and he's causing trouble. And they beat him up, and then he becomes, his face like slides off, and he becomes a dark dragon. And they're like, oh no, this is really serious. And they all fight the dragon. And that's the end of Chapter 1. They beat the dragon up. But the thing is, it's a dark dragon, which is really rare and dangerous. And so they go, this cuts back to HQ with the Top Horns, who are the head of Wingbind. And we meet all those guys. And they're like, oh no, dark dragon is here. That hasn't happened in 100 years. And it's actually 96 years, one of them points out. But they're all worried about this. They say, alright, let's kill Balgo, which they should have done in the first chapter, the one shot. But they're like, yeah, that was not a good idea. We should execute him like we normally do, or imprison him. But yeah, we meet all the tip-top guys who made this decision. And I'll just list those off real quick. There's a ton of them, probably too many. We've got Bruno Bangknife, Magic Circle Corpse, Inks. We have Roy B. Dipper, Incantation Corpse, Anthem. So it looks like we have a sort of incantation circles. We have sing-song anthems, magic. Count Nair Millier, Liturgy Corpse, Sacred, she's kind of the religious girl. Trombone Takanan, Minstrel Corpse, Pipers. I love him. Sullivan Squire, Tactical Corpse, Sabers. This is the group that Nini says she wants to join when she gets stronger. Sakarin, Development Corpse, Patchworks. He's not here. He's not in the anime either. Harry Shake, Accounting Corpse, Billionaires. He's just booling. He's just chewing some gum. Wolfgang Slashnot. He is the Personal Affairs Divine Punishment Corpse, Gallows. So, real quick again, we have the sort of like summoning circle guys, this incantation spell guys, the religious people, the Pipers, who we know to be the dragon herders, the Sabers, who are the sort of like militaristic people, Development, Patchworks, we don't know what they do, but we can assume they develop magic tools, and Accounting, and then the Execution, or Prison Squad, I guess. But Bruno's the only one that really matters right now. He says, oh no, a dark dragon, it's been 96 years, I'm gonna go beat it up. He's a badass, and he goes to do that. He's the reason we want to kill Balgo, because he's like, I'm gonna go kill them for breaking the rules. This shouldn't have happened. I want to take this responsibility. So quick recap of chapter 1. We get introduced to our witches again. We see their personalities, and again that they work in the real world, but they also work in the dragon world, and they may or may not live here. We see Balgo is still around. He's causing trouble, even though he should have been executed. And we met the corpse. We met the head guys. On to chapter 2. So opening up on chapter 2, we see Noelle's apartment, which is very cute and pisses me off. Why? Because dragons are everywhere. She's got potted plant dragon, she's got a Wi-Fi extender dragon. Like, what the hell? Most people in this area will get killed if they're within eyesight of a dragon. And you get to have pets? This is a danger to the neighborhood. This is a bad idea. And Noelle, are you never in a bad mood? You don't think your negative emotions are going to create dark dragons, which is how those were told to be created in the last chapter? But at the same time, it's like, you know, this looks very cute, and I wish all the citizens of this town could have dragon pets. That would sort of make this world more enjoyable to live in and not just a constant state of fear for the average citizen. So she gets the morning newspaper, and she sees she's on the cover for being epic and fighting the big bad dragon. She shows Balgo, who lives with her, sort of under the curtain of her one room, tucked away like Harry Potter under the Dursley stairs. Then Noelle, Nini, and Balgo all go on a surprise mission on the weekend to go look for someone harboring a dragon. Balgo gets a cool witch's cape and horn to make him look like part of the team, and they're all heading out. Just as an aside, I don't really know why they chose not to introduce Balgo as a main character in the first chapter. It kind of assumes you've read the one-shot to get his introduction. In the first chapter, he's just introduced like, hey, a guy. And I was talking to my friend Clay about this, and he was like, yeah, Balgo's just a guy. He's not a main character, who I assume watched the anime. So they go off, they find the dragon, and the woman is with it, Macy. It's her dragon. She's an ex-bandmate, I think. Apparently the tabloids have been saying bad things about Nini, so Macy came here to blow their ass up because she's a stan. And Macy had feelings for Nini, too. It's implied they had a complicated and gay past, so good job, Kubo, on being progressive with that. I'm gonna like put some chocolate in this or something. This is kind of nasty. Anyways, Bruno's here. He's coming to kill Balgo like he said he was gonna do. But it turns out, he also maybe wants to kill Macy and her dragon. He doesn't like announce that per se, but it's implied he's taken over the mission and this was a trap. Anyways, Noelle sees Balgo and is like, dude, your scene hair is cringe. And he gets really mad and does like a Dragon Ball explosion around him, and he just generally attacks them. But they bite back, and they distract him long enough for Macy to escape. And while she's escaping, we get Macy's backstory, which is pretty sweet. She's not a fan of being a pop star, but adopted a dragon because she thought it was cool and like found meaning in her life again beyond being a pop star, which is a job she didn't want to have. So she's like, I love this dragon. And they escape, which is great. Bruno, seeing that they're escaping, summons his own dragon, which in the manga looks like a dark dragon, and I was immediately like, breaking the rules again, are we? That's really weird of you to do that. But no, it's not a dark dragon. According to the anime, it's like a blue-colored, kind of lighter dragon. And then he zooms in on his dragon to go attack the three again, and he looks at Balgo and he's like, this is no longer ambiguous, I'm going to fucking kill you. And that was chapter 2 and 3. On to the last chapter. We get this opening cover page, and I just want to quickly point out Courtneyer's, let's call them holy chaps, and her sweater that has been double tied around her breasts. Are you trying to tell me something, Kubo? You got something to say about that?
You wouldn't happen to be horny, would you, Kubo?
Back to Bruno. He kills Macy's dragon, but he didn't actually kill it. It just turned invisible and slashed his dark dragon's wing apart while he wasn't looking. Ow. Then it turns into a super dark god dragon, Cinderella, which is one of 7 Marchins, a legendary dragon, along with Snow White, Red Dress, Golden Axe, Sugar House, Band of Animals, and Bubbles. Bruno says, oh, I've really got to kill this one, so he takes flight again. He graffitis some industrial-grade spray paint on his dragon's bare skin, and it summons a beast that attacks the dragon, Cinderella, and dies. His beast dies. Cinderella blasts a glimmer of crystals out that are also tiny bombs. And so Bruno, Noelle, and Ninny team up to attack the big old dragon, but it's too strong and flies off again. And then the goddamn chief Admiral Kizaru Frieza, God himself, just light speed finger guns it to death in one blow. And he says, did I do that? Just like his favorite sitcom TV star. And Balgo made a sword come out of his horn and doesn't use it, and that's the end. And then there's sort of a post-credits scene. Macy becomes a pet dragonclad too. Noelle hugs Balgo, saved his life. The end. Now let's talk about the anime. The colors are good. The voice actors are very expressive. Noelle is a lot more likable because she's more of like a loving parent kind of person. Not so much just like boring and personality-less. They give way less of a shit about Balgo in the anime, like he definitely is a side character, and it's pretty funny. I watched it on Crunchyroll, so I got some funny local ads, like Carpet Man. There's a lot of attention to detail in the world, like it feels like a very lived-in world with all the people on the streets and stuff, so that was cool. Again, they're living in constant fear, so that's not very cool. I kind of checked out and made a sushi fan cam halfway through. I'll put that here. I could see why, having watched the anime, you would like it and want more from it. Myself, I read the manga and was sort of confused by the rules, and it was kind of short. I want to go back over some more issues that came up post-ending. So, the people decided that Balgo and Macy, the girl who harbored the dragon, get to live because them existing is causing more dragons to come, which means it's summoning the ancient dark god dragons, which means Wingbind can kill the ancient dark god dragons and stop them forever. But like, if they weren't there, then the dark god dragons wouldn't come at all, and your problem would be solved, and you wouldn't have to kill them, and it'd just be... Stop letting the people touch the dragons. Fine, if your rule is they can't touch the dragons or it'll cause mass death and panic, then do that. Kill the people. You can't have it both ways. If 72% of deaths in London are from dragons, there are enough dragons around that everyone is dragon-clad, and this doesn't even work. I don't think I explained in the beginning that this 4-chapter manga is a season, and that the anime, which is 3 episodes, is originally a movie that was broken into a 3-episode season also. Do I think it will get a second season? That's hard to say. I don't think that Kubo has more ideas. I don't mean that in a mean way. I think that the one-shot and the first chapter, the story in both cases was that a person harbored a dragon, which they're not allowed to do, and that caused trouble. So the people stopped them. And they didn't really stop them, they just made them pets. Like, they made them dragon-clad officials, and that doesn't really go with the rule. I think with this contradiction of people not being able to get in touch with dragons without serious problems, and then having the dragon hunters, like, also in this world, is just needlessly complicated. Like, it took 2 years to make 4 chapters, for one, and if Kubo was interested in doing more, I feel like he would have already. And lastly, I just think it was kind of a mess to try to follow. Like I said, I had to establish these rules for you in advance because reading them over, I did a lot of double takes with like the percentages and like the things people were saying. I was like, why do you have dark dragons which only appear every 100 years, but then you also have the legendary god dark dragons that also only appear so often? And then why do you have most of the deaths from London take place from dragons, but people can't see dragons? And why do you have dragons everywhere in Reverse London if most people in Reverse London can't touch dragons or they'll be executed in the streets? It's not as messy as Samurai 8, that shit was boring and hard to read, but this is like a lot, and I don't think it was very well thought through. There's going to be a lot of retcons in Season 2 if it even comes out, and I didn't enjoy Season 1 that much. I've got nothing else to say. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I want to see you in the comment section telling me I have shit taste. I want to see you in every single video talking about what's new. If you'd like, you can watch me tonight and Thursday nights, that's Mondays and Thursday nights, on Twitch playing games in my backlog. Or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram talking about what I'm reading right now. Otherwise, I'll see you here next Monday. Follow this channel for more content. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Peace.